Welcome, everyone. My name is Viktoria Kshevinskaya, and I'm so excited and happy. And thank you so much, Sacred Heart Valley, for inviting me for this event. I'm so grateful to all of you for coming here, and to those who are not live but are gonna watch the recording. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm very excited to talk about this today, and I'm very excited to answer all your questions if you might have any. If you might not have any questions, we have some questions. So it's going to be fun. I'm hoping it's going to be useful. I'm hoping we're not going to make it too long and everyone will be able to stay with us for whatever it takes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming. How everyone is doing.
Good. Thank you, Victoria, for sharing and to start the gathering here or the in community spotlight here by yourself. I'm very impressed. Normally I'll be the one that's talk. I was like, oh yes, Victoria will jump in straight away. I was like, oh, my job is done. But thank you. I'm like so honored to have you on board in the month of October. And we just passed the portal of 1010. And it's also feeling like a new beginning, resetting, new beginning. And I know that this is also a very exciting project, or also, let's say, services as well in your passion of life. But before I jump even further, I'd love you to introduce yourself. Who are you?
Who are you? That's a good question. Yeah. Okay. So my name is Viktoria Kshevinskaya, and I'm a founder and a creator of B School Space, which is my company and the place where I hang out. And I'm a friend of Sacred Heart Valley, and most of the people and conscious leaders in the Sacred Heart Valley are the soul family of mine, and we do a lot of sacred work behind the scenes together. And before I started doing, and so I am doing all this consciousness and mindfulness work and meditation and teaching all these kind of things. But before I started doing the healing work and all this kind of things, I was teaching languages for 20 years, and my own child is almost 10 years. So when my daughter was little, I started working a lot with the kids. And the transition to this new beginning, so to speak, is a very natural transition, because we were doing a lot of other things to begin with, because we had to learn how to write and read, to do basic maths and stuff, not to jump into the consciousness straight away. Although it can be for some people, for some kids, it can be straight away. But we started naturally from other things, and then we were growing and becoming a little bit more wise. And now it is natural for us to start other things. So what we are going to talk about today, StarSeed Kids Group, is for a little bit older kids. I call it teens, starting with 4th grade and older. But we don't have a limitation for like if somebody is a little bit younger or if somebody is a little bit older, it's okay, because we truly appreciate the desire to learn. Because it's more about that. It's rather than like, oh, we have this limitation in the box. No, it's more about like, we're open, but we want you to have an opportunity to join us. But at the same time, if we don't feel that it's the right place for you to be in, we have a right to advise you something else. So yeah. And B School Space is my heart project. It used to be a language school before, and then a little bit more than a year ago, it was transitioned to this place where I hang out. And it's a place for adults, for kids as well. And we speak about self-development, self-enhancement, energy, self-expression, and lots of other interesting things. And To be honest, I just realized that, like, okay, I'm doing all these interesting things, but the kids are kind of like out of this. So I'm not letting kids taste the juicy part of the work of life. But I'm kind of like, okay. And then when you grow up, you will have access to that. When you grow up, you will come again. But now, just like in September, a month ago, I was like, okay, well, actually, you know what? Maybe I can adapt. Maybe I can speak easier language. Maybe I can explain what is intuition. Maybe I can do other things with the kids. And that's how we started. So it was a very natural process.
I like that. And also the one thing I want you to also share with us, what is the difference between StarSeed Kids Group? And I see these honestly as a school.
As what? Say it again.
As a school. So I see it as a school. So I was like, I'm sure that is Victoria's dream. So let's say a group/school. So what is the difference between this school, StarSeed Kids Group School, and other school, other virtual school? There must be a specialty there, Victoria. I'm knowing. Come on, bring all of this out.
Well, I wouldn't call it a school, like a separate school. So to be honest, like in the beginning, my language school's name was Boost Your English. So BE, Boost Your English. And then I squeezed it into B because I wanted you to be, and that's what you came here to do. You came here to be, and that's how the name B School appeared. And then within B School, and that's the only school which I have. I don't have many schools. I have like, let's call it like different faculties or different groups or different directions. So they're actually, like, if you see at the logo, I have the logo of like a dragon and three mountains. So one mountain is the kid, the other one is the adults, and the other one is the creators. So we host three like, the original plan behind the scenes for this transition, which I had from the language school to B School, was to teach kids, to help adults transform their minds, but also to unite those creative individuals who came here to create and to have this place, like a marketplace, if you want to call it, but also to have a place where the creative individuals can share their wisdom and magic, and can be displayed and can be found by those who energetically are attracted to this place. This one, the part about the creative marketplace, it's not happening yet. It's the transition which will be happening in the future, but also it's a place where kids can be displayed with their magic and gifts. And this is like the bigger vision which I have for the future. So before, when I just started, I think in 2000, the school was founded in 2015, but in 2018, I created this Teachers for Teachers community, which was like a supportive place for creative individuals, because I wanted to influence the educational system. And the reason I wanted to influence the educational system was because I don't want my child to go to a normal school. I mean, if she wants, she had a few times when she tried. Normal school was a place where she was bullied. Normal school was a place where she felt unseen, where she didn't belong, and where she had difficulties to adapt. And it's not because she is so like different or weird or wild or whatever. It's just like a place where people have to adapt, but not everyone has to adapt. And those who come to me, the kids who I work with, somehow it happens that they are different from other kids. They are different in terms of, you know, in some societies, they can call it like deviant behavior, or like difficulty, like anger issues, or difficulty to control emotions, or like it's difficult for them to fit into the normal system. or they don't want to fit into the normal system, or they don't even see it as an opportunity to fit into the normal system, or they think that there is something more bigger than that, and that's what their parents are searching. So it took me a while before I could actually claim my voice and start speaking what I'm truly doing, because in the beginning I was like, oh yeah, it's for everyone, come and join me. Well, actually no, that's not for everyone. It's not like that, because some people want traditional curriculum, traditional, like, okay, we learn this, we learn that, we go step by step. Okay, this is perfect and beautiful. But in my opinion, I want to allow a little bit more freedom to the kids. And that's how I created, I think 2019, I created I call it kids-led class technology. So I allow kids to be a little bit more involved into the class, so that they can lead the class themselves. They can show me their passion and interest, and we can explore and develop that. And this actually was kind of scary in the beginning, because I had this like, oh, what if parents come and ask me like, or get dissatisfied with the results, or like if they need to go into a basic curriculum place or like pass an exam, like, oh, maybe they will not be ready. But then I realized, like, well, actually, first of all, they will be ready. The second thing is that I want to attract to this group those who would value what we're actually doing, because this is so important and magical. And the other thing is that giving kids opportunity to make a research in the field of their interest sparkles up the desire to learn, sparkles up the passion, and they are so interested in going deeper in the research. I don't like kids who come to my class and who are forced by parents, like, okay, now you go to the class, and they are like fighting inside of them. I love kids who come to my class because they truly want. They are eager to wake up early in the morning, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever time it is, and just run, because this is the class, this is the opportunity. They love that, and that sparkles me up. That makes me so passionate about this opportunity of energy exchange with the kids, because I'm learning a lot from them also. Every time when we start, I don't know where we will go for sure, because I have this prompt. I have like, okay, I have created this code for them. I'm going to talk about this topic, or maybe if we don't go that way, we will talk about this, but it can end up in a different space, and you never know what exactly it will be, because sometimes a child can come up with some situation. Okay, he broke his leg, or he broke his arm, like it has an emotional process to deal with, or he had a fight with his brother, and he brings that up, and you want to, or they had a thing about like their art not being appreciated, or like, so we deal a lot with emotions. And I speak about it openly to the parents, because this is really important to bring the child back into the heart, to bring the child back into the true essence why he came here. And I start early, at whatever age, because the sooner we know about that, the better life becomes, right? And it's amazing if the parents can teach that, but sometimes parents are too busy with their life or with other things, and too busy with organizing life around that, and dealing with the side effect of the emotions rather than dealing with the core issue of the problem. So yeah,
I hear you saying about the word emotion a lot, and also I wanted to bring into that word a span of that word. So for example, like it's the holistic approach that you have for the group, right? For the kids. Can I say as it's described as a holistic approach?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So emotion. So I'm just looking at the categories of it. So free flow, emotion, mindset as well. How about spiritual side? Do you put the name spiritual? I mean, I'm asking as for parents. So I was like, StarSeed, spiritual galactic. So what do you actually teach for spiritual? So it's like emotion, maybe physical, like mindset, and then how do you blend into like spiritual? So how do you convince the parents?
That's a beautiful
Yeah.
question, Lillian. I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's amazing. Yeah, the thing is that like we're just in the beginning of the journey. We all only had 7 classes. So like the most of the kids who are in my group now, we had some newcomers, but most of the kids were with me for quite a while, for a few years. So it was a natural transition for them. And they already were familiar with basic concepts like gratitude, karma, non-judgment, stop for searching for outside validation. But we are going smoothly through the like things which open up for us. And Dylan, like spiritual, what is like if you look at it, like zoom out from that and think about it yourself, like what is spirituality, what is spirit, what is that? And then my answer would be that it is a connection of technology, art, and mind. So if you look at it this way, and like energy, so what is energy? What is this physical body? What is there outside of this physical body? How do you connect to the spirit? How do you connect to the divine source? What is the divine source? What that actually is? What that actually mean for your body? Where in your body you can find it, or how to find it at all, and how to deal with this like blocks which might be on the way, like fears or doubts or mental blocks, or how to connect back to the heart. And we go very slow. Like for adults, you can have 3 classes. For a child, it would be 10 or more, because we need to repeat things. Yes, I can give them a lecture, but they will not understand. And I will ask them again what they understood, and they will give absolutely different approach. So we go very slow. For example, we had information about what is highest self in the first class. And then every class I ask them, what is highest self? And every time they have different answers. And every time they go deeper and deeper. And obviously, this group is mostly for those parents who I don't really need to convince. For those parents who are kind of like self-aware themselves, or are on the spiritual path themselves, or are healers themselves, or are doing this kind of work. Or if they're not doing that kind of work yet, they are interested in learning how to do that soon, or want to go into that. Because this is actually, like it's very hard to explain to a parent. And I had this situation before, when a parent is absolutely in denial, like what we do. What do you actually do? Where are the results? They didn't learn how to write 5 more new words. This is not the result we're achieving in this group, or even aiming for. This is not where we go. So yeah, I hope it answers your question.
Yeah, because the parents always say, well, how's my kids going? The first thing, what did they learn? So yeah. And I remember that I really loved one of the work that I was very intrigued was the dragon. There's a dragon with the kids, and can you bring us to the journey that how is that happening? And I'm sure that, and also the experience with the kids with you, and what's the outcome? I know the outcome of it, right? Like just like I want to know what happened to the kids right now, like they play with the dragon in the different realm. It's like a playground. So if you can share that, oh, that would be really good.
Yeah. I am honored to do that. Thank you, Lillian, for asking this question. I truly appreciate it. Yeah. So actually, the dragons is how this idea started, to be honest. So with the dragons, I was doing this dragon classes and dragon activations in a way for several years. So first time was, I think, 2018 or 2019. But at that time, I didn't call the dragon activation. I was just taking the kids out into the jungle, showing them the surrounding, the magic life here in Bali. And then I was like, okay, and now draw your dragon. Tell me what he does, what he knows, where he goes. We didn't do any journeys at that time. But then this summer, and in Southern Hemisphere, it was winter. So July, August, this year, I started, like when I got exposed to my personal dragons, like I found out their names when I was in the class with Jen George, and I was like, well, actually, it's a possibility for the kids also. They can give them their names to the dragons. They can understand which dragon is doing what. And when we speak about celestial dragons, what are celestial dragons in real? Like celestial dragons, to be honest, are a part of ourselves, just like all other things, right? And they like the dragons we get exposed to are the dragons we need, are the dragons who will support us in our journey. So for example, if somebody has particular gifts, that's the dragon who helps him with those gifts, right? And then I started, like, because I was still running the groups, still having the classes, I started asking my kids, do you guys love dragons? And they're like, do you want to see them? Yes, we see them every day. Do you want to see more? And I was like, yeah, of course. And it was a discovery for me, because for that I started communicating to the parents. I was like, okay, you know what, I work with celestial dragon energy. Do you mind if we have this like opportunity to tap into this realm? And they were like, okay, I have no idea what you're talking about, but okay, go ahead. I will ask my child if he loves dragons or not. And then we created this space, and it was actually, so I offered, this is an offering, it's not displayed on the webpage yet. This is a single class offering also. So it's not necessarily in the group, but also like people can come to me with this question, like, okay, we want to have dragon activation to support us in our journey, but actually dragons support us in emotional process, in physical process, in many different kind of things. And different people get exposed to different dragons because they have different issues. And when I was running this single dragon activation, so to speak, I got experience that, like, for example, a child he met his dragon. The dragon was a water dragon, and he was told that he needs to drink more water. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then I communicate to the mother, and she said she's shocked. And she gives me a feedback like, well, you know what? This kid doesn't drink any water at all. And this kid is in denial that what is important. He drinks juice, he drinks tea, he drinks this and that. And I was like, well, do you actually know that it's important to drink water? She's like, well, yes. And I'm trying to convince him. But now he has a dragon who supports him in this journey. So it was an interesting transition, because the child actually opened up his mind to the ability of, like, to the necessity of drinking water. So maybe we take a sip of water, all of us, just now.
I love that.
And the other thing about dragon activation is that when you work with adults, you kind of like have to take them deep into the meditative space, or like hypnosis, or, like take them on a special kind of journey so that they are mentally ready for this opportunity to see, like if the parent or like adult has never been exposed to this energy, he can get overwhelmed, right? So to be able to move from the head to the heart and be able to see, it takes time, right? So like it takes some spiritual devotion to be able to do that. But for kids, it's much easier, because the kids put their hands on the heart, they're already there. They already see, they already feel, they already have everything they need. They don't need any like hypnosis, extra meditation, extra energy work, extra breath work, nothing. No, they don't need anything. Although we try to do that also, but they don't need, they're just already there. Okay, I see my dragons are fighting. It's because it's also a part of imagination, a part of vision, like combination of the two. So like for the adult, it often comes like, okay, is it imagination, or is it I'm really seeing that? Is it like the cloud, or is it the dragon I'm seeing? Or is it like, am I imagining it, or can I actually trust my senses? We have all these doubts. But for the kids, whenever they get exposed to that, they're like, okay, my dragons only hang out at the sunset time. I can see them everywhere now, And
Yeah,
it's also
because
very
Oh, sorry. Yep. Go on. Sorry. Yep.
It's also very
Go on.
supportive to deal with kids issues like go into the dark portals. I teach them, okay, now you don't necessarily need to be scared of going to the dark portals. You have my dragon Spiky to go with you to the dark bathroom in the night, and they get like so courageous, you know.
I remember you shared that. I was like, that's a good one, because a lot of kids are really scared to go to the toilet, and they have to on the light all night, and the parents say, no, often I'm scared. So that is the one that I remember. I was like, oh, I love this dragon. So yeah. Oh, so cool. I wanted to ask something. I do see a lot of things on your channel, because I know that you have a field Telegram channel, isn't it? So do you want to share that, your channel and Telegram, and then I dive into there's two things I wanted to bring out for you to share as well. Do you want to share your Telegram first, the name of the Telegram?
Yeah, absolutely. I have several channels. I have channels for adults and I have channels for kids. And the channel for kids are invited to join the channel for kids. But most of the time it is parents who join the channel for kids, especially for the younger ones. They are like you, they come and like, oh, that's a cool task, I'm going to print it out and give it to my child, you know. That's how you do with the little ones. So all the links are displayed on my webpage. It's called what is called Bees. Yeah, I will post the link later. Be Kids channel, and it is spelled out the same way. Be Kids channel with double M, kids channel, and it's the place where I share everything related to the kids. And like if I post some YouTube links or invitations, or if I find some cool tasks or YouTube videos related to some topics. And usually it's like the kids decide to study. Like, for example, recently we had bees activation, and we were talking about bees a lot. So of course we went into exploration. How do they actually make honey, or do they actually need the honey? Or like we started, and I'm inviting kids to make their own drawings, to create their own art. And I'm also posting that there, so that other kids who are not even in the group, they get inspired and create their art and share that there as well. And so yeah, it has a, like every group where kids actually studied, it has a separate chat so that they can create their own bonds. But this one is a channel for like for public, so that everyone can come and find something useful. And the initial idea when I created that channel was, like, I have several devices. I have iMac, MacBook, or iPhone, and sometimes I teach from this place, sometimes I teach from that place. And I wanted to have a place where I can actually find all my resources. So that's how I started. And then some parents or people were coming, and I was like, okay, you know, that's already in the channel. You can go and download it from there. So it has like lots of books, lots of PDFs, lots of links and resources, and like all these things, because it's a convenient way of actually like hoarding all this information.
Yeah, I was in there. I was like, wow, this is lots of information, but also that I love Telegram, that you can do the media. Sometimes the link, sometimes the PDF, that can separate in the category. It's so easy to find things. So that is why I thought that it was so good that you have that, the kids channel, and also the adult channel in the Telegram. So yeah, excellent. I love that. So I also see that you do like a light language for the kids as well, right? Just lately, and I really love that. I was like, oh, they're just so easy, because first of all, you know, when I started my online language, I was like, is that real? Like, you know, I have like all of them, right? But the kids, just like you say, there's a dragon is there, like go here, and then they're there already. That is like, that's how pure they are, right? So light language, come on, tell me, what's the secret here?
Okay, so first thing first, about light language. Whenever your own light language is activated, you have to come through the process of actually accepting it, right? So Lillian, you were holding my space. I was like, I'm going crazy, what's happening in my mind? And in the beginning, he got into the denial, right? So like, oh no, I'm not hearing that. I'm not doing that. It's not what I'm doing.
You
And
start
then
to judge your own language. Like, that sounds a bit weird. That other people sound so nice, like singing. Mine just like weird. I had
yeah,
that in the
yeah.
beginning.
Yeah, and it takes a while, like a few months for me. And then when it got activated, am I actually being pinned or not? I'm not sure.
Yes, you
So
are.
when mine got activated, I started like recording this, like I'm going into the nature, I'm doing this, like sharing with the nature. And my daughter was still here, and she was like, okay, oh, today you have a different language, today you have this, today, like, and she started noticing that. So she was exposed to that because I was sharing that, I was doing that, and she saw my videos, she saw me doing that. And then when I think when we just started with this group back in September, I started feeling more confident with my own sharing, and I started getting this light language. So after, in August, I launched a group for adults. The program, it's actually now available as a self-study program, 7 days chakra healing journey, which is an opportunity to heal the energy centers and launch your project. And that program was the first program I ever had with light language in it, light language meditation, but that is a program for adults. And when I was doing that, I was like overcoming my own fears of being seen for who I truly am, and actually using this light language in my program, in my teaching, in my offering, and allowing, and I see how it works. It works directly with subconscious mind. I know the intention, I know how it is, done. And then I started creating this light codes for adults, and I started thinking that oh, actually some of these light codes, not everyone, but some of them can be used for kids, and if I give them proper explanation or details what they are, they can understand. And apparently at the same time, some kids got so excited, they were like, oh wow, what is this? And some kids of my friends got so excited because they were younger, and they kind of like had this instant remembrance of their galactic origin, galactic language, galactic things. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna hold my space for kids, for them to activate that, but I'm not going to force them to do that themselves yet, because whenever it activates, they will feel safe and they will feel free. Because for now, they might have still kind of like inner judgment, like, what is that? What is she doing? They need to adapt. And then at some point, when they will feel safe, they will feel like, okay, this is actually, which is already in my mind, which is already I've been having. But for the younger ones, I already had this light language activation, also like a separate offering for like preschool age, like four to 6 or 4 to 7. And those kids, they don't need extra activation. They're just already there. Okay, now we don't need to speak English. All right. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. Okay, let's do that. Let's do the art. So yeah. And yeah, obviously it's just like a matter of like your own confidence. So for me, it was a transition to be able to be confident in my own expression, so that the kids can actually receive me heart to heart.
Receive you heart to heart. I really love that. Receive you heart to heart. Well, first time I heard that. Even though I do have a heart-to-heart connection, but the kids will receive you heart to heart. Amazing, Victoria. You teach
Thank
me
you,
that.
Lily.
Thank you so much. So now I'm going to be...
Are you stuck? Everyone else? Wait, or is it my internet? Wait.
The mind of any question. Yeah.
Wait. Yeah. Repeat. I don't hear.
So now I'm opening the chat, opening the question to the audience, the participant in the Zoom here. So I have like Xenia, Daisy, and Kyle. So I'm sure that they have lots of questions to ask you. So I'm just, instead of 2 of us, I'm going to throw the question over there. Bringing the mic over there and ask questions. So yeah, ask away.
Please ask. Welcome to
Anyone
ask
wanted to ask?
your mind.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
As my son is not he's not teen yet, luckily. Yeah,
Goes fast.
and he is English is his third language. So, for example, if he's not speaking English and if he's not speaking your other language, how could he or other children like him participate in your program?
If he doesn't speak English?
Yeah. If his level of English is very low. Yeah, for example, in my case, it's his third language.
Okay, I see. Thank you so much for the question. So the thing is, like, as a language teacher, and for the younger ones, we start in the like, I have homeschool curriculum for kids, and the homeschool curriculum is for small stars. It's like the babies. It's like studies with mom or a nanny. Then the preschool, I call it Smart to Be Enough to Be a Student, and then the primary school. So these are three main homeschool curriculum offerings, and those none of them uses any other language to be translated to. So it's like kids with different background, they start having access to the materials, and they're gradually exposed into like speaking or singing or writing or tracing or whatever. And it is done in monolanguage or monolingual approach. So basically, if the child has like a subscription plan to the program, but then he meets with a teacher, with me, like once a week, for example, for like 20, 15, 30, 1 hour, depends on his age. And then he watches all this like videos, he does all this like printouts, like writing or tracing, and then he comes to the class to practice. He comes to the class to actually, you know, to use all this what he's been exposed to, and then slowly, gradually, he would be ready to go into the group which speaks about energy and light language and all these kind of things. For the little ones, I have not launched a separate StarSeed group, because I still think that in the primary school, although with the individual one-on-one kids, we use this aspects or parts of it, like dragon activation or like some kind of codes or some kind of parts and bits we use as a separate program. It's not available for groups, because I still believe that in the beginning of the journey, the kids also need to learn how to read, how to do the basic maths and stuff like that, because it needs to be combined. Otherwise, the kids go too wild. They just want to do the fun part and not the educational part. So it's like I'm holding their space so that they can still learn and develop. And then the reason I limit this StarSeed Kids group with the 10 years old, like 9 years old or something like that, because I want them to be confident readers. So like first year, like primary school, I developed like the curriculum for the primary school was being developed while my daughter was growing. So first year, like preschool, we focused on mostly learning the alphabet and basic maths and how to like start actually reading, but also expressing themselves. But then first grade, we were mostly focused on first and second grade, we were mostly focused on exploring the world and like animals and all this kind of things, and landforms and like the world around us, and while still learning how to read and how to write and how to do this. And then third grade was mostly about creative writing and reading. And the fourth grade is this, and older is this StarSeed Kids Group, because they are already confident readers and they already can express themselves in writing, and they already can like feel more confident in their self-expression. So this is like a gradual process. But I was having in mind that the there might be an opportunity that younger kids would come, and we probably would create a different offering for those also, or work with them one-on-one, because, or like in mini groups, depending on the request. So it's an opportunity, but it's coming in the future. Thank you so much for the question, Ksenia.
Yes, thank you for your reply. Yeah, it is very valuable.
Thank you, Xenia. Is there anyone else? Just bring in your curiosity.
Yeah, it's definitely inspiring. I wish I had this school when I was younger, because I was so creative and just didn't have, like, I would do my art, like I would go to art classes and that. But it was like during school, I would just like daydream. I want to be outside, or I want to be creating. So it's like, it's amazing that you're bringing that to the kids now. It's like my inner child right now is like squealing. It's like, I want to redo all the great, like I want to, like my inner child is like, wants a redo of like, from like all the grades, right? It's just amazing that you just provide this safe space for just like to nurture the children and their creativity and their heart. It's just so beautiful. Like, it's very inspiring. It's like, I just like want to draw now. Like, I just like want to draw.
It will be an honor for me if you go ahead and draw. That's what you came here to do, express your inner child. Thank you, Kyle. I truly appreciate that. Yeah, it's like when we look back in the school years, like, or not even look back, like my daughter is currently in the online school, in the Russian online school, and I not really force, but I make her do the classes there, because I still believe that it's important for her to keep the Russian language, so that like whatever happens, she goes traveling and go connects with the family on the deeper level. And I don't want to teach Russian language, so I'm like, okay, you do that in this online school. And then in that online school, she has so like they start in September, and she has English classes, and she's bilingual, so she has like two languages like developed on the same level, pretty much the same level. And in this school she has English I think 3 or 4 times a week. And what she does in the English classes is she criticizes the teacher. She's like, you know, like a webinar platform. So the teacher is teaching, the kids are hanging out in the chat. And now she's with with my mom and with the grandparents. And my mom was watching the classes, and she's like, you see, she's not really in the class. She's like criticizing the teacher. She's like, oh, he said this is wrong, this is that. I'm like, okay, well, this is not the way it's supposed to be. Maybe we will swap these classes into something else. Maybe we'll give her opportunity to go deeper into something else, because this is not useful. This is a waste of time. And when you look back at your own school years, or even university years, how many classes you had where you were wasting your time? I mean, not necessarily really wasting, because nothing is a waste of time in a way. Like, everything helps you develop like different kind of like brain work, and everyone has different necessities and needs and abilities. But at the same time, there were classes in my school years where I felt bored, unseen, or unappreciated, or I didn't want to be there at all. And I was missing some of the classes I didn't want to attend, and I was like talked off for that. And you know, but the main reason for what I'm trying to reach here is, if the child is truly inspired, he will be like, I want to go there. And if he is like, no, I don't want this child to waste his time, because this is also about a waste of time. Like, if the child is in denial that it helps, it's necessary for him, it's okay for him to find other classes. It's totally fine. It's not something that he's going to be forced to do. He needs to truly enjoy that, so that he gets the benefit from it. Thank you, Kyle, for this question. That's beautiful. For this comment, I would say.
Thank you, Victoria, and thank you, Kyle. He said exactly what I was about to say too. So years ago, many years ago, I watched few documentary about early kids education. It's kind of like how do we discover that supernatural gift among each kids. And I learned that for all the kids before they reach to 14 years old, actually I think it's 30% or 40% of before they reach 14 years old, they can develop some kind of supernatural gift. Like for instance, the experiment of science research they've done is like make the kids blindfold and ask their hand to touch a letter that's being hidden in a box. They can read it. Like there are different part of the body region, like the hands, the feet, and also the elbow and the ear. They can sense what's that message being delivered without like using the physical eye to see it. That's why I realized we all, I mean, not all, but majority of us had that gift. It just, we don't have that. Our educational system like doesn't allow the space or the container for such gift to be burst out. And I always thought about, wouldn't that be amazing? There will be a school that actually helps support and for such opportunity and gift to be explored for all the kids.
Yeah. Thank you, Daisy. Truly appreciate that. As adults, especially like when we start this journey of like awakening, so to speak, we spend a lot of time looking back into our childhood and tapping into like what I truly loved when I was a kid. You know, it's like, what was my passion? What I was doing naturally. Oh, I'm an old goosebumps because that's like my path. And I was like, oh, I loved doing art. I loved a little bit of singing, but I was not so confident. I loved doing dancing. And, you know, like these were my things. And language learning, this is the thing also. But then like when I was choosing the career and in my age, people were kind of like, kids were forced to go to university straight from the high school because that's the normal thing to do. Like the society wants you to be ready for life. They want you to start working as soon as possible so that you provide your like yourself with the means for survival and stuff like that. And when I was, you know, in high school, I was for several years constantly worried about like what I truly want. I have no idea what I want. I have no idea what my gifts are. I'm not so, you know, like thinking like you can't really be passionate about anything in particular if you were not really developing that passion. And with these kids, I'm kind of like giving them this opportunity to understand what they're passionate about and to have this understanding anchored, because otherwise they are just all over the place, you know. Like for example, my daughter, she's really good in arts and she's a creative artist. And as a parent, what can I do to support her journey? I can buy her pencils and pens and brushes, right? And colors. That's what I can do. Or I can offer her the classes opportunities, but I don't want to force her to focus on like maths or whatever, like science, if she's not passionate about that. So I want to give her opportunity to develop her skill rather than force her to develop that is not going smoothly. Because this is the thing, like sometimes we get the tutor and teacher to help with that is not going smoothly, instead of getting a teacher and supporter who will help her develop what is actually going well. And that's the shift in the mentality of the conscious parenting, you know, like whenever we understand that we are here to unlock the mission goes naturally, and you came here with particular gifts. and this is like set up in your system before you incarnate, before you come here. So for example, if you have this arts like abilities, you probably are like a galactic architect or something, and you had this ability set up in your system before you came so that you can remember. But like most people focus on other things and don't remember, and don't even take time to remember, and as soon as they and then they are 30 or 35 and like, what do I want in my life? What can I do?
Yeah.
What am I passionate about?
Sounds like me.
Yeah, it's like we striving so hard, maybe it's at the wrong direction. In China we have a saying, it's like it's kind of like the system makes a duck learning how to climb a tree, makes a monkey learn how to swim. It's not gonna work. You have to know what is that the spirit that the kids fully embodying, and then allow her to blossom, him or her blossoming at that direction.
Yeah, I love it, Daisy. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Teaching monkey how to swim. That's amazing. Absolutely love it.
I also wanted to bring in is the intuition as well, because a lot of the children, their natural have intuition. So because of the society and also the parents not conscious, right? Those intuition is either buried or just shut down. So to awaken that as adults, you say, oh my God, what? Just like you said, you went back to kids. I like to teach drawing. I have these, like, your inner vision, all of that. So yeah, it just remind me back of my own journey too. So yeah.
Thank you, Lillian.
Yeah, thank
you, Lillian, for bringing up this intuition thing. Last week we had a class, like if we speak in adult words, it would be third eye activation and intuition and telepathic abilities. But for kids, it's more about like magic. So one of the kids in the group, he had absolutely no idea what we're talking about, because he's not a regular class comer. So he's like in and out, and he has no idea about energy centers. His English is not so advanced, so he was invited into the space so that he can see if he can fit in. And then I had a conversation with his mom, and she was like, and he was so a little bit overwhelmed, and he like all he understood was magic, and he was so inspired. He was so like, you know what? We can read somebody's mind now. But then with kids, like, so okay. Yeah. And with kids, it's like you can get them exposed to the fact that, okay, there is the mind chatter, but there is the whisper of the intuition, right? And to understand the difference between the two, you actually need to learn how to listen. You need to learn how to practice that. You need to learn how to actually start sending telepathic messages. And we had this joke in the class, while sending telepathic messages, be precise. Because if you send a telepathic message like buy the bread in the red package in the supermarket, if you go on the right, then you will not receive. But if you send a message buy bread, you will receive. It's like a constant practice, precise. and they had this practice, and it was the first class they ever got exposed into that. And some of the messages were not received, some of the messages were received. But obviously for children, it's important to allow the skill to naturally develop and to practice that naturally, because you need to hold their space, otherwise they get overwhelmed, like, oh, what is that? What did I just see? What was it? Was it a dragon or what? Or was it a sound in my mind? Who said that? Who said that? So I want them to feel calm. I want them to feel natural, and I want them to be peaceful in their abilities and accept. Self-acceptance is important. Like, accept their natural abilities. It's like some kids, they go into the denial, like, okay, I don't want to be a cosmic architect. I don't want to be drawing. No, this is not what I want. I want to be good in this and that. And like, okay, you can go in that, but you can't deny your own abilities, So yeah.
Oh, to see all the kids that they're actually having fun. I want to go to that class instead of going to the adult class.
Me too.
You have an opportunity of so in on the platform and I will show the platform later.
Yes,
Or maybe
that's
I
the
can
question
show
I
it.
want to ask you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can show it straight away. So this is the web page of the like we can call it sales page. So this is the invitation for the group, and there is information about the requirements and what we study. People can explore, and the link will be provided. So it is B School, Space Teachable, and StarSeed Kids Group, and in here on the webpage itself, I already have the Be Medicine activation for kids to unlock their gifts, and this is like light code for like Be Medicine, like for activation. And then here we have this live class recordings, which we already had since September, and then like I will show exactly again what else we have. But then if you go to the bottom, there are options to join, and there is the free option, free trial option. And this 7 days trial option, it gives opportunity to join the recordings. So basically with the free trial option, you don't get a free class, but you get access to all of these classes, which we already had. And you can just like as an adult also get a lot of value. I mean, not every adult knows how to deal with emotional intelligence, for example, and we devoted a few like I think 2 or 3 classes, 2 classes for emotional intelligence and analoma viloma, breathing, how to ground yourself. This is something even the adult can learn from. And except for that, on the webpage, everyone can also see divine protection for children from human trafficking and sexual abuse, which we also talk about in the class. I don't give too much details about like sexual abuse or human traffic because I don't want them to go into the scarcity mentality. I want them to feel safe. But what we do instead, we learn how to cultivate the protective bubble from the heart, so that the children know how to protect themselves. And for all the children who work with me, I set up my own divine protection so that they feel safe in their self-expression. And this is like what I do regularly, every like once in a while, and strengthen the bubble so that the kids are safe from all the evil forces, because there will be a counterpart forces which wants to sneak in, but we have all the dragons to protect us. So yeah. And then also there is a live class recording. It's just available straight on the webpage. This was before we started this group. It's cats or feline beings class. This is a creative writing class from the previous school year, which we had in July, and it's just available on the webpage so that people can taste. It's a full class, like 1 hour, and see. It's this one was for a little bit younger kids, but also like creative writing, so that you can understand what kind of language we're using. And so and the options for joining are available. People can join single class, but they can also decide if they want to have 10 classes, and we run the classes once or twice a week, depends on the request, and also depends on the time zone, because I want to accommodate all the time zones who come. Some people want to come to the class, but they'd have no opportunity to be live because of the time zone. So we have an option for just accessing the recordings. And if the child is passionate enough about watching recordings, and here is the question: some people are not passionate about watching recordings, they want to be live, and that's why I give the opportunity of watching the recordings for free for 7 days, because I want you to taste. I want to be transparent of what we're doing, and whether or not you want to be watching just the recordings. And if you want to be just watching just the recordings, okay, go ahead and subscribe to the recordings only. But if you want to be present in the live sessions, we will accommodate the time so that it fits into your schedule. That's why most of the classes we run on Saturdays and Sundays, because many kids have classes during the weekdays, and on the weekends we try to find the opportunity to get the time which will be suitable for both me and the children in different time zones. And yeah, this is about it. And also speaking about what we do in the classes, we tried having so like I will show you again what we already did so that you have the taste a little bit. So we had in the first class, like all the classes are about 1 hour 20 minutes or 1 hour 30 minutes, and that's why I limit the group age for a little bit older kids, because the child of 7 years old cannot manage so long. 90 minutes is long for a 7-year-old, but for a 10-year-old 90 minutes is good, because he can also have a little bit of yoga, a little bit of stretching, a little bit of dropping into the body, a little bit of breath work, a little bit of journey, a little bit of information, a little bit of creative time. And then we want to have this time and space so that we have time to create, because otherwise, if it is squeezed into 1 hour, I'm kind of like Russian kids. I'm giving them, okay, now you have one song or like 5 minutes to draw, and they're like, I'm not done, I want more. And I don't want to rush them, you know. I want to give them this space so that they can finish their creation straight away in the class, right? So we have a little bit of movement also in the beginning, because sometimes we have classes like early morning, like 8 o'clock in the morning, and the kids are still sleepy a little bit. They want to have a little bit of activation, and sometimes they are in the resistance, like what they don't want to move, or they don't want to you know. And I use this kind of things like, okay, activate your wings, activate your shoulders, you know, like so that they can activate and feel strong in their body, because it's very much, energy is very much connected with the physical, and we need to be in the physical. And then we already had this like root chakra work where we were talking about the how to eliminate all the fears, how to use the dragons to protect you, how to like which dragons to call, like my dragons, but they also have their own dragons. We were learning how to journey, but these journeys is something that we don't do every class, depending on like the condition, the physical condition and emotional condition of the kids. Sometimes they're too much in the mind. I cannot force them to do the journey, right? So if they are already in the heart and ready, and I feel that it's appropriate for today, then we do. But otherwise, we can do other things. So, for example, we had Analoma Viloma. I got them exposed to this technique, but it was difficult for them for the first time, right? And chances are they might not remember it next time, or chances are we might need to repeat it again. Or, you know, so this is not like something you learn once and forget about it. It's that more that you're getting exposed to it, and then you're practicing, because the group is not like, okay, it has 10 classes and that's it. It has as many classes as needed, because we need to go through a graduate process of actually learning not only theoretical part, but the practical part. This is much more important. I want the kids to be able to learn these skills. I want them to practice this intuition. I want them to practice dropping the roots into the planet and feeling grounded. I want them to understand how, what does it actually mean to go back to your heart? What does it actually mean not to search for outside validation? When you do the creation and go show your mom, and she's like, okay, busy with her stuff. And then you cry for 5 hours, like, oh, my mom doesn't think I'm a good artist. You know, these are the things that we're talking about, and it takes time. And obviously, like I cannot limit them. Like now I have in mind, like, okay, we're going to talk about this and that and that. We're going to talk about energy centers. We're going to talk about universal laws. We're going to talk about this and that. But I'm not limiting the curriculum to this, because new things show up, and I'm always open to whatever needs to show up. And usually I need to share with my kids and also with my adults what I am experiencing. So, for example, if I'm working with non-judgment code, I am sharing that. If I'm working with a process of like some kind of like betrayal, I'm going to speak about that, because kids need to learn how to return to their heart. Or if I'm talking about like self-acceptance or self-love, which is a big question for teenagers, especially because kids are very much in denial of who they are, and sometimes they don't fit into the school, and they are like, you know, in this like hatred for themselves. And I had to experience that with my own child, and we spent some time in this group also, like filling up our own cup with our self-love and accepting ourselves where we are, and then we can cultivate, you know, all other gifts. But to begin with, it is kind of like a deconstruction. We have to remove all the density, and also the kids have this density, unfortunately. Hopefully kids of the future will not have the density, because the parents won't. But as long
as we as the parents still have that, the kids, you know, have that as well. So it's a matter of a process of learning and growing.
I love that. Yeah, you're bringing your own journey, and then sort of like bring the kids and the children together, and also then you learn from them as well as a sacred mirror. And they see the adult as sort of like a model. The kids will see adult is, you know, was not responding and not reacting, but the thing is like they have a model like adult to mirroring back as well. So that is so important. It's as a support, and also holding space for them is so important, right? So you feel safe. So yeah, so amazing. Well, I do have probably like 2 questions before we close. Is the first one is what is the message that you're gonna are gonna share with the parents? What is one message?
That's a beautiful question, Lilian. My main message, my spotlighted, yeah. My main message is I want kids to unlock their gifts and abilities at the early age. And that is the main goal of the group. So to be able to unlock gifts and abilities, kids need to learn how to come back into the heart. And that's only possible when all other energy centers are united. And it's much easier for kids to come back into the heart because this is where they mostly are. If they are not distracted by all other addictions or all other things in their life, like computer, video games or anything. And the main message is that if we were exposed to that at the age of 10, we would be totally different people. And that is why I truly believe that starting early enough is important so that we create a different society and we can influence the reality the way we want. Because if the child from the early age is self-confident, is full of love, is full of creativity, and he knows what he came here to create, and he shares that with the world in a loving way, then he can start creating straight away. He won't waste those 20, 30 years doing whatever he's forced to do. He will just start accomplishing his mission straight away. And that's what we want. We want all to live in the society where everyone is in his own true place, connected with his heart and anchored down in their reality, what we all want. And that's why it's so important to let the kids and give them this opportunity at the early age.
It's a beautiful message. It touched my heart. It touched my heart. As I could feel that it is like doing at the now moment is so important. And again, that because is everything moving so quickly, right? So everything can happen right now. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So the last one is, how do people find you?
Hey, bschool.space. That's the place. bschool.space. It's so easy to remember. If you don't mind, I will show the webpage so that we can see straight away. It's still under development. There are still going to be changes. It has adults, it has kids, it has all the information about light codes and other blog posts and resources. The space for kids is going to be changed and renovated. But here we have the Telegram channel. Here we have the link to the Telegram. Here we have the link for the StarSeed Kids Group. Everything is available straight on the webpage, and people can just go bschool.space. That's the space. Yeah, prior to joining the class, I need to have at least short interview with the child and with the parents so that I can understand that the child is able to receive me. He is able to listen to me. He is able to understand me. And it's not only a question of English, it's also a question of like consciousness level, because some kids might not be interested in this kind of topic, and it's okay. They might be interested in other things like programming or whatever. I'm not given that. And there are many teachers. I'm not trying to be in competition like with this, the only thing that, you know, everyone needs. Some people might not need that. That's why having a prior interview is very important for me. And also for the parents, it's also important for them to feel safe, like for them to build trust with me so that they understand what exactly we are doing. And that's why I'm so transparent. Like, I don't want to be hiding behind the scenes, like changing, you know, people's energy or the way they think and you know, telling parents, okay, we're learning multiplication. This is not what I do. This is not my job anymore. And I'm trying to be a little bit more transparent about what we are doing so that we can go deeper. And the goal is to go deeper, as deep as we can. So, because I truly believe that our kids have more DNA strands than we do. Our kids are much more advanced than we are. And we are just here, as you said, Lillian, to hold their space for self-development and for being exposed to as many things as they need to be exposed for them to bloom as soon as they can. And it's not a question of race, like, oh, I need to do it now. I need to do it within next year. I need to do it. It can take, for every child, it can take as much time as he personally needs. It can be 1 year, it can be 10 years, and it can be like that next year he already knows that he has super abilities or psychic abilities, and he can help, he can serve, he can help people, he can create things. And it's not a question of like him making money and making a living. It's a question of him being confident in his gifts and learning how to use his gifts as soon as he understands that he has those gifts.
Yeah, so beautiful. Thank you. Can I ask one more question? Because I love the way that you bring the kids to excursion. I remember which is where you are, you actually go out and touch the nature. And that is the different. I call it excursion. You probably have like different term, but I like you to, especially those that will listen, which is stay at where you are, that bring them to that nature is so important, because the school is all concrete. Like my school here, like my kids' school, they're all concrete. They do have like make lawn, but there's no nature like you. So can you bring that as well? So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So with that, I had experience, and it's also an offering. When I was working with some kind of like retreat programs, when people were organizing consciousness retreats, like or yoga retreats or like whatever, and somebody else was doing the adults part and I was doing the kids part, because we were, you know, it was a family retreat and kids had to be like you know, having their own activities, and that's how it all started. And sometimes kids come to my offline classes, or sometimes we go outside and have this like, even close to my property, it has a lot of places to visit. But also, like, if we go in a like different places like botanical garden or like to the mountains, trekking, and these are kind of things which I truly love. I love connecting with the nature, and I see a lot of value in that, because when the child is scared of bugs, or is scared of lizards, or is scared of, you know, different kind of things, he's so much locked in his own body. He is not truly connected or rooted. And when we get go into the wild, go into the exploration, go into the river, allow our feet to get dirty, or allow ourselves to touch the plants, allow ourselves to smell, to understand, we activate all other senses. And if the child is in online classes, I always share my videos, I always share my photos, I always talk about the unknown. Like, for example, last time we spoke about hungry ghosts, the ghosts who live in the trees and which are not you know, one of the children, it was actually Paulina, my daughter, she was like, Mom, you never spoke about hungry ghosts before. I was like, okay, well, not everything you know yet. And we had to have this conversation that, you know, some ghosts or entities can interfere with your life without your awareness, but you actually want to claim your power back and know that they can only interfere with you when you allow them. And when you ask them to leave, they will leave. Or you can help them to evolve into a different species or into different beings by using your magic powers. And that's where the magic comes, and it's like, oh, I have magic powers. Oh, wow. and I show them the videos of like, okay, here is the tree. Can you see the beans? Can I see the beans in this tree? Oh, yes, I can see the, so we have like this, like, and it also helps to develop the imagination, because something that you can see, you might not truly believe that you see, but then you look deeper and you actually see, and then you're like, okay, I saw something. So it's a question of learning, but it's not limited into like, okay, she lives in this magical place with lots of nature and jungle, and it's only there that you can learn that. No, sometimes I go traveling, and I went to Russia, but you can find a park, you can find a tree everywhere in the world, but you have to learn that you need to connect with the nature, because you get a lot of wisdom and energy from the nature. And that's what I teach children. Like, if you feel overwhelmed, go hug a tree, go ground yourself, get the energy from the exchange, release all the density, and get another type of support from within. And they're like, oh yeah, I will go hug a tree. And learning how to connect with the animals also. Like, we had this conversation last class. I shared Zaza's video about the dogs, like when the animals are actually extensions of ourselves, and when we need to learn how to connect with our heart and communicate with the dogs, we learn a lot about ourselves. And learn it, like, this is something everyone can practice, learning how to telepathically understand what your animal, your cat or dog at home or rabbit wants. It's easy. Oh, okay, he's hungry. Oh, okay, he's trying to communicate something to me. He's in pain. He's this and that. And this is the way we practice our abilities. We communicate with the nature.
So beautiful. I know that I'm going to bring Carl in here, because I know that he's very resonant with that. Do you want to say more or share your process with animals, especially you have cat at home and nature too? So yeah.
For sure. Oh, I didn't even know that I wasn't muted. Oops, sorry. Definitely, yeah, my journey. Definitely. Couple of months ago, when I got bit by a dog on my right side, on my back side, I was deep in thought, and I'm like, what's my purpose here? I'm like, why am I even here? And I'm like, and then the dog ran up and bit me, and I'm like, and then I had to express my voice to the girl that had the dog. I'm like, your dog bit me. She's like, my dog doesn't bite. And I'm like, it bit me on my backside, right? And then it's I was walking, and I'm I didn't want to check it out in public, right? So thank goodness I was close to home. And I got home, and I'm I was panicking, I was freaking out. I'm like, what does this mean? What does this mean? I call my mom, and I'm like, a dog bit me, all of this. I was freaking out. And then just went through the whole processing. It was just all the stages, anger, my day was perfect. It was so great. And then this dog bit me. And I was just, then I did this whole meditation of just trying to forgive and release. And then it was just, I was still holding this energy, and I'm just why? Why did this happen? It was this inner battle, right? And then realized that that's my masculine side, the dog bit me. And I've been so much in the feminine and the creativity and the art. And I was brought up with my mom, around nurturing women and all of that. So it's I didn't have that prominent support of my father, because they passed, right? Because my mom got married twice. And it was just again, it was all in that feminine, all in the feminine. So then when the dog bit me on my right side, I'm like, this is different. This is different. And then I didn't like it. I was resisting it. So then it was yeah, stepping into my power, and yeah, having my voice being spoken. And even it was a German Shepherd that bit me. So every time I would see a German Shepherd, I would get nervous. And I'm like, no, I deserve to go on this walk. And I need to get out in nature. I need my fresh air. And I'm just no, I'm I was trying to get over this fear. And then all of a sudden, all these dogs were off leashes. And I was so angry. I'm like, why are all these dogs off leashes? And I would just feel like I was so frustrated. But I'm like, so then I started to use my light language, and I would just constantly say the light language. And then like a dog ran up to me. It was funny because he had no teeth. And then like the owner said, he has no teeth, like he won't hurt you. And I'm like, okay. So doing my light language, and the dog like looked at me, and like we were like connecting, and then he just like walked away, and I'm like, okay. So like my confidence was building. So I'm just like, okay. So it's like better and better. But I was doing a video not too long ago outside of where I live, and all of a sudden there was a German Shepherd like right next to me, and I'm like, oh boy. And I was just like, I'm like at the top of my lungs, I'm like, go home, right? Just being like that, like bigger energy. And the dog would like looked at me like, what? Like, you know what I mean? So I was just like, okay, this is good. But then now with my cat, it's like he's been the biggest support in my life. Like that unconditional love, healing my heart, like really connecting to him more, as in like when he's speaking, it's like providing that space for him to speak. It's like what would you like to say, right? And then once I connect, I get like visuals, and like with Jen George and all of us, I'm like, the other day I was just like, wow, like I didn't even think to like go deeper than that, right? Because it's just, my cat just gives unconditionally, and it's just such a beautiful relationship. And I just give him love, and he gives me love, but he's like, he always knows like what I need. So it's just nice to kind of dive deeper into that. It's just amazing. And then with our dog, the dog that we grew up with, she was a beagle. So I was terrified of her too when I was younger. It was this whole like terror around animals. Like my babysitter had a Dalmatian, and that dog was like crazy. Like I would just run up the bunk bed after school and stay there. Even if I had to go to the washroom, I would just like stay and just like pray to God that I didn't have to like go anymore, like to the washroom anymore, right? So it's just like, why is this fear, right? But even at a young age, it was like that fear of the masculine, the fear of like my masculine energy. It's been always with me, and like stepping into that power and that strength. And now it's like things are happening where it's like I have to step into that. I have to step into that masculine energy to support myself and like the feminine and people around me, right? So it's just like being that leader of the heart. So it's just like it's all making sense, and it's all connecting and all of that, and it's just so beautiful. And I want to just share my drawing. I'm just so excited. It's just great to be in this supportive, nurturing space, because it's like I've like wanted this space for like most of my life, to be like seen, heard, acknowledged, to like be supported in drawing. So it's like, yeah, it's like I want to redo with like my whole creativity, and just like a whole fresh start of like really connecting to my inner child today. I just had such a beautiful experience, and I'm like, I want that like every day. And I'm just like, yeah, so this is my drawing.
Wow. Thank you, Kyle. I would appreciate if you could send it to me later.
Of course. Yeah, amazing. And I call it Creative Heart of Wonder.
Wow, that's really cool. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate it.
Welcome. Thank you for holding the space for us tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. That's really beautiful. Yeah, it's about the dogs. It's not, I shared with Lillian before in the group. I also shared. I had this experience that my dog started barking like on at the neighborhood, like on the neighbors, and being really like uneasy and anxious. And then when I was given this advice, and I'm still in the journey, so like it's still at the beginning of the journey, I would say. And then like about this is actually a reflection of you. You can learn from that. And I started doing that, and I started like anchoring them down, trying to make them grounded. I taught the kids about that, and the kids were like, oh wow, you can ground the dogs, that's so cool, that's supernatural. Well, it's not so supernatural, but okay, we can learn that. But then also like when the neighbors kind of like complain, sometimes you want to tell, like, okay, well, the dog is reflecting you. If you come with this, then it's something that you have to address. But then at the same time, it's also a matter of like building up connection. If you attack when somebody attacks, or if you like, that's, of course, that's the reflection. But at the same time, if you try to connect or build up this connection on a different time, when the puppy is kind of chilled and calm, right? You bring him a cookie, you bring him, like, you call him by name, you try to build up this friendship and connection. You give him your fist to sniff, and he's like, okay, he's safe. He hears his name, he is like, oh, okay, he knows my name. What does it mean? It actually means he's safe. Like all these kind of things. This is something that you learn from experience. And I remember me being attacked by a dog when I was little, and like I was sitting in the playground and a big dog came at the back of me and just started like as if she's raping me, and I was like so scared. I was maybe like 5 or 6 years old. I remember it clearly. And in the area where I lived, I never had a dog as a child. In the area where I lived, there were so-called dogs' weddings. So it's kind of like dogs go like wild, and there were dogs tribes like aggressive and like just wild for like, I don't know, 10 dogs wild, they could be fighting each other. Like that's my childhood. I grew up in a tundra and like really like polar places, different vibe. And then of course you kind of like have this projection that is scary, it's fearful, it's something that you should be scared of, and you're not safe, you're not rooted, you're not connected, you're just in the fear, in the denial that it actually can be good. But then you kind of like claim the voice. I remember my daughter was also scared when she was little. She was scared of puppies, like somebody else's puppies. She would be like, oh, and then now she's like, she has her own dog. She can connect with the bigger one, like sniff my fist. Okay, you're good. Let's can I touch you? And this is a question of like learning how to communicate with the nature. It's like when we learn about higher self, like when we heal people or heal somebody, we have to learn how to ask, can I do that? Can I do this? And that's the same with the animals. Like, can I touch you? Can I call you by name? Can I communicate with you? Are you okay with that? So it's also learning about your own needs and boundaries. And in a way, you're kind of like returning to yourself, like, okay, can my boundaries be crossed that way? No. Is it a question of ego? Am I being emotional? How to claim my emotions? So it's like, yeah, it's a dance, like a dance of us with the nature. And when we separate ourselves from the nature very much, we're like afraid of all these bugs and animals, all these things. We're like, okay, I live in my concrete apartment. I'm so good. I'm so safe. But actually, no, you're so unsafe. When you go into the nature, you go trekking, something happens, you scratch your foot, you're in denial, like, oh, this is my blood. What happened? But then you kind of like learn from the experience that it's actually not the way it's supposed to be. And we are not like more dominant in the nature. We are a part of nature, and we learn how to merge with the nature so that we can feel safe all together. And that's how we learn. So yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Kyle, so much for bringing it up. Maybe someone else has more question, or we have questions in the Facebook group or anywhere. I didn't watch that.
We do have some comment that is on the Facebook. Daisy and I have been checking, and it's all good. So after the live, then we can just go in and check again. I think that I have checked that 5 minutes ago, and Daisy been very active outside the group. So yeah. So is there anyone have no question? Any more question I should ask? Any more questions? Then if no more questions, Victoria, do you have more to share?
I think I'm all complete. I shared the webpage. I will just repeat it one more time. So the webpage is bschool.space. That's where it is. And the kids are at the bottom over here. StarSeed Kids Group is right here. So also the link is provided. People can go and receive the bee medicine to activate the gifts. It's actually a very funny video. If we still have like 5 minutes, so we can watch it together. Do you mind?
I don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just play it full screen.
Mhm.
Hopefully it activates.
Trust your emerald
The
be who you came here to be.
So good.
Unlock potential. Only highest and purest frequency.
we can turn off the video so that we have better connection.
Unlock the gifts for the new children, for them to understand what they came here on earth to share, for them to unpack their beautiful abilities, for them to create what they came here to create, and to bring the technologies they brought here to share with the humanity. Please receive. Shambhukataya Turakanta Kodakata Jatando. Only highest and purest frequencies. Shambarakaya Hatha Jatanda Karukayata Tukajatando Aya Karaka. Shandakaya Lara Pukataya Tu. Shumbarahaya Kurakatanda Lara Pukataya Tu Har. Shandakaya Tu. Aya Kurakataya Tajatandu Aya Kurakatandu Kajata Rokatanda. Harukaya Pukarajatanda Aya Kurakataya Kunda Amurakataya Shunda Aya Kurakaya Kutajataha Amurakata Humpata Chatukalara Andukaya Shukaraya Hurakajakunta Hatukaramba Halurakataya Tujatandukaya Pukarajata Shundaka Shundaka Shundakaya Kurakataya Tujatanda Larapukatayata Shumbaraka Tujatanda Shumbarakaya Kurakataya Tujatantukatayata Shundakaya Tujatanda Shundakaya Tujatanda Shundakaya Tujatanda Yarapukataya Tujatanda Shumbarakaya Kudajatanda Larakutayatanda Shumbarakaya hu andukaya tatajata andukataya tu jatanda ayaropu patacha andurakaya hu rakajatunda ayaratu anda lara euhanda chahundaka purakataya umbaka ayakurakanda jaturakamba aya andukaraya ku andukaraya ka shukarakata shundakaya kurakaya ha Ambukata Jat Shundakaya Ha Shundakaya Kurakatanda Shundakaya Kurakatanda Shundakaya Kurakatando Larapu Dajata Shundakaya Larapukata Jaturkatanda Ayakurhatanda Ayakurhatanda.
Yeah, thank you so much for receiving.
I really enjoy that.
Thank you. Yeah, so the webpage is there. The information is also available for the StarSeed groups. The contact details, my personal contact details are also on the webpage. Telegram channels are on the webpage. Adults channel is also on the webpage. Link to my Telegram is also there. YouTube is there, everything is there, Instagram. So like whatever needed is all over everything is there. And I would like to thank Sacred Heart Valley for kindly holding my space and for being so supportive. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. You are truly amazing. And I'm very much like, wow, this is the place. This place actually exists, and I truly love everything that you guys are doing. I'm watching it, and I'm really excited to see how you grow and how you help people, how you support, and what creative and interesting projects you are having. I'm so grateful to be somehow a part of it, which is amazing opportunity for me to like, wow, such a fresh air, like really beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Victoria. So I'd like to say thank you to you as well, as I see you flourish from just a few months, and you always have that dragon's energies. They're so magic. And you're like, oh, Lillian, one step at a time. Really? It's 10 steps at a time. That is, you like, oh, one step at a time. I was like, I don't trust you like that.
Yeah.
So, but we do have a very, very good connection offline always. So whenever you pop in, it's just like our conversation always very juicy. So yeah. So thank you so much again. And also thank you, Daisy, for all the streaming and to the universe. So thank you so much. And also Xenia here as well, Paraconscious Leaders is supporting. And Kaya as well, sharing the most experience and also the code, and just so beautifully all supporting each other to make it all happen. And sending so much love to all of you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can I make a comment of the code?
Of course.
Oh, it's so beautiful. You know how the bee like flying and just like cruising in the garden, gathering all the golden elixir of the garden. Yeah, that's what you're doing. Is you're glowing with all the golden elixir of the universe and share with and abundantly share. It's just so beautiful. It's just like wow. Thank you for all your blessings.
I love you all so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is exactly what I meant. Like, we're all here in training. We don't know where we will go and where we will end up, but we want to have this playfulness in our life and allow our kids to be playful. That's why we create the space for them to be playful and to keep this cheerful playfulness, not only in the childhood, but in the adulthood also.
Yes.
Thank you.
Truly. Thank you so much. So we are closing the space now and holding you all, Victoria especially, and all the blessings to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.